Howdy, howdy, folks. Once again, this is Donnie, and I'm coming at you with another cybersecurity awareness report. And this time, I have to say, I have been sextorted. Yes, I've been sextorted. And yeah, with that word in the video, I fully foresee those automatic YouTube bots demonetizing my video because they think it's something nasty, but hey, whatever, right? But anyway, a few weeks ago, I received an email, a very, very curious email, that I'm not going to read the whole thing to you here, but basically it says that, hey, we recovered your login credentials from a website somewhere, and it was a porn website, so they say, and where I have those blocked out there, all these little boxes here, like there and there and there. Those were really the password that I'd used in some site at some point in the past. But I recognized it immediately, and it was back in the day when before I knew better, right? So I was using the same password, or on rare occasions, some variation of that password for pretty much everything, right? So this was back in the early days of the public internet, back in the 90s. Somebody went back that far, and they compromised a website that I had frequented, that I opened an account on, and I don't even remember what site it was anymore. I have no idea. But I do know that whatever it was a site that I never entered any credit card credentials or anything like that. And even if I had, it's so old that all those credit cards would have been expired anyway. But anyway, the email here, basically, it just says that, hey, we compromised a website and we got your logon credentials, and we also compromised that site in such a way, we planted malware on it so that it now has a keystroke logger. It now can take control of your webcam, and we have made a video of you watching porn. Yeah, there's another word that's going to get me demonetized. Yeah. But anyway, so basically what they're saying here is that you need to give us $5,000 worth of Bitcoin so that we can delete this video. And if you do not give us $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, we're going to take this video, we're going to make up this video of you on one side and what you are watching on the other side. And we're going to send this out to all of your email contacts, your Facebook contacts, and whatever else, because supposedly they were able to get all that contact information from you as well, right? Okay. But anyway, and then a few days ago, I got a second one, which pretty much the same thing, except this time they got a little bit cheaper. This time they only want $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in order to not send this incriminating video of me watching porn out to everybody I know. Now, I'll have to admit, this did kind of throw me a little bit at first, because I immediately recognized that that password was something that I had used at some point in the past. It was a well-known password to me because I used it all the time. And the other thing that kind of threw me was because when I had first got that first email, I had actually been sitting on the couch with my laptop, which has a webcam on it. So I was saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? Well, anyway, here, yesterday, I see this article at the register.co.uk. Sextortion scum armed with leaked credentials are persistent pests. If you're going to batter 8,497 folk with over 60,000 threats, odds are that someone will crack. So basically, and again, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you here, but basically it says persistence pays off for crooks when it comes to sextortion-based phishing scams. Research into its effectiveness suggests. And so basically they're just saying that, hey, they've been bombarding people, bombarding the prospective marks with threats to release this non-existent footage of them watching smut unless they give in to the demands. And of course, these threats have an air of authenticity because they're using the partial details of real passwords. Well, in my case, it wasn't partial, it was real. I mean, it was complete, right? Of real passwords that have been exposed by genuine breaches. And so most often this involves cases where the compromised web servers used weak and crackable password hashes. And remember, I said the site that I'd used this password on, I mean, it was very, very long ago, back when password hashing technology was not up to the same levels of security that what we have now. So password crackers sell compromised email addresses and passwords through underground forums, but they often leak and are therefore not difficult to acquire even without paying. Sextortionists take these lists before churning out batches of bogus emails, often from newly created webmail accounts, or alternatively take the lazier and less effective approach of using open email relays. So, the threat intelligence firm Digital Shadows ran the rule over a large sample of such scam emails, sent over a 2-month period to gauge their effectiveness. In the sample, 8,497 individual email addresses were swamped with more than 60,000 spam messages, a sample which appears in a blog post here. Well, I don't need to go to that blog post because I already showed you my own. The anti-public and exploit.in leaks were the two main sources of compromised credentials harnessed in the scam sample Digital Shadows discovered. Researchers found that persistence paid off for scammers, and marks would pay up after a sustained series of scams rather than when they first appeared in their inbox. So victims who had recently actually watched porn and were in the terrible habit of reusing passwords across multiple sites were more likely to cave in. Well, yeah, if they're reusing these passwords across multiple sites, let's say they use the same password on the porn site that they used for their email, guess what? That's going to make it really, really easy for these hackers to get into your email account then and really send this stuff out to all your contacts, right? And then, of course, using a webcam was another factor that made marks respond. So victims in the sample were told to send funds to various Bitcoin wallets. Digital Shadows discovered 26 transactions linked to a fraudulent campaign that brought in, get this, $28,000. Okay, maybe that's not a lot of money considering how many of these scam emails they were sending out, but still, it is a lot of money. And by the way, if you hear meowing in the background, I believe that is Maggie Cat, but that's okay. Well, I'll get her in a minute. But anyway, the amount demanded by the sextortionists varied. Digital Shadows reported, and it just showed you two of my emails where one of them were demanding $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, the other only $1,000 worth. So the attackers experimented with different methods to maximize the return. For example, by tracking one Bitcoin address, we can see that the same one targeted 49 email addresses with demands ranging from $1,100 to $11,000. Eventually, the attacker got lucky with a payment of $1,100. And so this scam represents a new way to monetize breached credentials. And other security researchers such as Troy Murch have been attempting to chart the extent as well as how many Bitcoins have been paid to fraudsters as a result, but this work remains only preliminary and no firm conclusions can be drawn. Okay, so lessons. Okay, lots of lessons here. Okay, well, first off, don't use the same passwords across multiple sites, because even if you're using strong passwords, that's not going to do you any good if one attacker or some attacker were to breach the security of one site. Okay? And remember, there are a lot of ways to breach security on a site that's not locked down properly. You know, you've got SQL injection attacks, and you've got all kinds of cross-site scripting, forgery, and all kinds of other stuff, all kinds of ways that attackers can get into a site that's not locked down properly and can steal credentials. But having said that, you do also want to use strong passwords that are hard to guess. So yeah, use different passwords on all your different sites and use passwords that are hard to guess. And then use two-factor authentication if it's available. Okay, so two-factor authentication, you can have like your YubiKey or whatever, stick it into your device and or stick it into your computer, or you can have two-factor authentication set up on your smartphone or whatever, and use that. That's just an extra way to prevent people from stealing your stuff. If you're going to be using strong passwords and different passwords across the different sites, well, how are you going to keep track of them? Well, you can manage strong passwords with a good password manager. And there's several of them out there. The one I like is KeePass. Fantastic little program. It's cross-platform. It's available for Windows, Linux, and Mac. I have all three operating systems in my house, and I use it on all of those machines. And the database that it creates is transferable, or it's usable on any of those platforms. So absolutely great platform. And so I just let the password manager, I let the KeePass generate strong passwords for me, and I don't have to remember them, okay? I don't remember them at all. So all I got to do is just remember the one master password that I use to open the KeePass, and that's it. And then you want to find a secure way to back up the password manager database. And my favorite way of doing that is with SpiderOak. And SpiderOak, it's, well, if you know about Dropbox, it works the same way as Dropbox, except it's better, because Dropbox, your stuff does not get encrypted until it goes to the server, the Dropbox servers. With SpiderOak, all encryption is done on your local machine before the files get uploaded. So with the SpiderOak personnel have zero knowledge of what you're uploading. They can't even see the file names, right? So really, really fantastic. Again, cross-platform. I use it on Windows, Linux, and Mac. And yeah, you can see here I'm using it on my Fedora machine. Works fine, works great. I love it. And just as full disclosure, the SpiderOak people are not paying me to advertise for them. So I'm doing this for free. And yeah, I don't even get referral benefits anymore. They ended their referral program. but still, it's a great program. And even if you have to pay for it, it's worth it. Okay? And also, finally, if you do get something like this, some sort of a scammy looking email like this, sit back, take a deep breath, and think about what you're seeing. It could be that it's not as bad as you think, and that you really don't need to pay any blackmail money. Especially true if you're careful not to be using the same password across all websites, and if you're using strong passwords. And of course, for me, well, I got no worries about it anyway. I mean, and really think about it. I mean, so somebody sends out a video of you on one side looking at the computer and porn running on the other side. Okay, how are they going to prove that you're really watching that porn? You know, I mean, you know, really. So anyway, with that said, it's time for a word from my sponsor, especially considering since I fully expect that this video is going to get demonetized by the YouTube personnel. But anyway, my sponsor is me and my book, Mastering Linux Security and Hardening. If you're a Linux professional, a Linux administrator, you're looking for a pay raise or promotion, you owe it to yourself to learn about Linux security. And it's a good book. Yes, I know I wrote it, but I'm still going to say it. It's a good book. It's entertaining. It's not one of those dry, boring things that's going to put you asleep, because I like to write books which are entertaining. So if you like cats, hey, that's reason in itself to buy the book, because I've got all the stories about my cats protecting their data from each other. So yeah, check it out. Definitely check it out. Purchase links will be in the video description below. So anyway, having said that, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.